Hello. This video, I just wanted to share a few things that I've been learning over the last few weeks, and um, just to say a quick word, things have just been a bit hectic lately. Um, there's been a lot of stresses going on, but God has taught me so many things about my life and about my shortcomings and things I need to work on. And despite the challenges that have been happening, God has been able to bring to me a sense of joy these last few days, which I'm extremely thankful for. A sense of joy which I haven't, to be honest, I haven't felt in a long time. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share a few thoughts um, as to a few things I've learned. So, um, just to go back a little while. So the thing that sort of prompted uh, these changes is that actually Verity and I had a disagreement, and uh, we've also had a lot of other things going on generally with the circumstances around our life at the moment. But there was just this thing that came up that just really tipped us both over the edge and caused a lot of tension and stress between us. And it was really tricky few days, really. It A lot of it stemmed from a point of selfishness from me, and I realized that afterwards. I even actually realized it during and before that this was an issue I was having. But the key difference was that I was not actually seeking God to help me out with it. I can think of the lead up before this disagreement that we had before those tricky couple of days, and I remember telling myself, just Brendan, don't be selfish. Whatever you don't be selfish. And just repeating that in my head over and over again, because I just felt consumed by different things. Felt like I was being consumed by just selfishness. I was only thinking about myself constantly, and I didn't like that I was thinking about myself constantly. It was one of those mindsets that I got myself into, that that things would just pop into my head, like for example, in our relationship, like things that were going. My mind was just going straight to all the things that I felt like weren't going how I thought they should, or needs that I thought weren't being met, or you know, I spent a lot of my focus on directing it towards finding things that would make me feel happy in that moment, and within that created an actual sort of anguish within me, because what it was doing is there was this battle inside of me of going, I'm feeling pretty rubbish right now. I just need something to help me feel better just for a moment. But then when I was seeking that out, or I actually found it, realizing that, well, no, this provided me no satisfaction, because deep down what it was is that I was wanting, relationship and love and those things, and I was seeking it in the wrong places. So a lot of selfishness, and an attitude of what can I do to make me feel good at the moment. And that was something that I was struggling with. And just the last few days, there's been a switch, as I've realized that. I realized that to go a little bit deeper into things, but I've realized that I was struggling with a sense of belonging. That it was feeling like whatever I was doing, I didn't really have any belonging. That I'd be going to work and I didn't feel like I really belonged there at the time, that I was struggling um, so I'm a teacher, struggling to teach good lessons, struggling to just get through the day to day, and I felt guilty because I was just going through the day and just trying to get through, and I felt guilty about that, and I felt like I didn't belong where I was because I wasn't feeling like I was able to give everything to it. Um, I felt a lack of belonging in just generally in that I haven't been part of community for a while. You know, I we'd been busy on weekends, hadn't been able to get to church. We'd had family events and things, but um, even then, I'm someone who struggles in big groups of people, and um, I feel a lot more comfortable with a handful of people, 2 or 3 people that I know well, that I feel like I can be comfortable around, and so I felt that I didn't really have belonging in the community sense either, because I wasn't, um, didn't feel a part of a community at the time really, and there was a certain element of it at home as well. I felt like, at various times, being a new dad, I felt like do I really belong in that role? Do I really have what it takes to be a good dad? Do I really have what it takes to be a good husband, to be able to do all of these things well? So I think thinking deeply about that, those were some of the things I was struggling with, and I decided to try and seek that belonging elsewhere through, one of the things was video games, for example. That's been one of my hobbies growing up, but that's a misplaced sense of belonging. There's no real belonging in that. So yeah, this idea that I needed to seek out, find ways. I almost felt desperate to have just a moment of where I felt that joy and happiness, but also that wrestle of knowing that it wasn't going to bring me that. So yeah, that was one of the struggles I was facing, and then just when Verity and I had those couple of days where we were struggling, I really realized all of these things, and it seems cliche because I feel like it's something that Christians and preachers say all the time, but just to spend a little bit of time with God makes the biggest of differences. And I just started spending more time and directing my thoughts towards God. One thing that I've been really thinking about and working towards is being influenced by the Spirit and not by my own desires, and just praying each morning to let the Spirit overcome me, let the Spirit control my actions rather than my selfish desires, to be able to go, well, no, actually this isn't the way I want to live. I want to live according to God. And to be able to do that, I need to actually spend some time with Him. I need to be able to listen to Him and pray and work out what it is that He wants from me. So that's been one small change. And I take my dog for a walk every morning before work, and that's been a real good time for me to just spend some time with God. It's only a 15-minute walk. It's not a long walk, but to be able to go, right, there are no other distractions around me. Yes, I'm walking my dog, but in terms of the busyness of everything else around me, I'm away from work. I'm not, in an environment where I feel like I have things that I have to do constantly. I'm just walking my dog. I'm just going for a walk and spending time with God, and that's being able to really just, every day that prayer has been for God to just just instill his spirit in me, for me to be able to look up to him and go, God, I want you to lead me rather than lead myself. Because I know that by attempting to lead myself without God's influence, I will be led astray. So that's one thing that's really been helping me. And I'm a big believer in just starting your day, spending time with God. And I found that really difficult, and I haven't done that a lot, but I found that when in the times that I do, it just sets me up so much better. If at the very beginning of the day I'm setting my mind on God, it sets me up for the rest of the day to be able to focus on the things that are important. I found if I get up in the morning and I'm sitting on my phone, browsing through Facebook, thinking about, what I'm going to do at the end of the day, thinking about how I'm going to spend my spare time and to make myself feel good, then my whole day then becomes consumed by that. And I found I haven't been able to focus on the things that I need to be doing at work, and so just generally that's it. It's a small change, but I feel like it makes a big difference when you're switching your brain to go, no, I want to be directed by the Spirit for the rest of this day in everything that I do from here on in. And all of it just comes down to time with God as well. I've realized that in my decision making, in the things I do, I've not been calling upon God, and I've not been relying on the Spirit. It may seem like really small things, but decisions in the day, which are in fact important decisions, which if we're not living in accordance with the Spirit, they don't seem like important decisions. They actually are. And actually being able to talk to God about it and pray about it, even if it's just a quick 30-second prayer, going, God, can you help me with this? I'm not sure what to do. And in those times, my ability to make decisions, to make wise decisions, has been so much better when I've spent that time with God, drawing on his Spirit. Also, as a result of that, in the last few days, there's been a greater joy, because I haven't been seeking out this satisfaction, this sense of belonging from everything else around me. Because if everything else around me isn't going well, then of course, and I'm relying on those things to meet my needs, then of course my overall well-being, my overall outlook on things is going to be different, is going to be negative, I'm going to be struggling. But if I go, Lord, those things are not what's important, I'm going to keep my eyes on you, and I'm going to walk within your Spirit and let it flow through me in my decisions and the way I go about life, that has been able to bring me a joy, because it's now taken away my focus from myself, and I'm directing it towards God, and that can only result in good things, and it's resulted in good things for me. I've felt that I've been able to be more present. I've felt a greater sense of joy, which, like I said at the start, I haven't really felt a great sense of joy in quite a while, but that's because I've been so focused on myself. And to be able to let go of that, it's quite freeing, just another quick story. Yesterday, I've been doing really well, and I think focusing on God and making some changes to help me do that. But then I got this idea in my head that I wanted to buy something, and it was a second-hand wheel off Marketplace, and I thought, oh, okay, this looks like a good deal. A few weeks ago, I've been doing some research about the different products and comparisons and all that, and I allowed this to get in my head again, and was this wheel something I needed? No. Was this wheel going to be something that was going to greatly enhance my life? Absolutely not. Yeah, it might have provided me with a few hours of fun and enjoyment, but what was the cost of that? The cost was time and effort being directed towards something that wasn't important, and money. And I just that was a battle with me. Throughout the day I had to go, because there was this battle. I was going, well, it's only a small amount of money. I was justifying it. I was going, it's only a small amount of money. It'd be lots of fun. If it works well, it'd be something I'll be able to use for a long time. It's only, I was justifying it in my head that way, and I noticed that I was spending time. I got into bad habits again. In my lunch breaks at work, I was spending time thinking about that, and I was looking it up and comparing products and working out how to check whether secondhand products were good, and whether it was going to be something that what things to look out for when I was going to buy it, and I'd organise with the buyer to go meet them and all of those things. And I just thought, at the end of the day, the end of the day was getting closer and work had finished, number one, I felt regret, because I was like, why have I spent all of these thinking resources and this time worrying about something that is not the slightest bit important? And I prayed about it, and I said, God, is this actually something you want me to do? And again, this whole situation to you, if you're listening, may seem like a silly, small situation compared to something big that you're facing, but sometimes it's the small things that can get to us. And in that moment when I prayed, I felt the sense that God was speaking to me. He said, just number one, talk to your wife about it, which is what I did. And number two, I already had that uneasiness, that feeling that it wasn't right at the back of my head. I was just pushing it down. And I just thought, this is something that I don't need. And when I thought about it even further, I was like, I actually don't want it. I don't know why I considered it in the first place, because it's just all up an unwise choice for many different reasons. Yes, there was a couple of potential positives, a couple of potential temporary, things that would have been good that have come out of it, but overall, it was just not worth it. Not worth the time, the money, the effort. Yeah, I've also been listening to a whole lot of different sermons and podcasts on my way to and from work, and like I said, they may seem like small changes, but a lot of small changes can make a big difference. And I've found that just, again, this is not a difficult concept, but just being able to change what goes into my head is changing what comes out of my head, and changes the way I'm thinking. So in my car, when I'm listening to these sermons, listening to the Word of God, feeding it into my head, it then throughout the day, it gets me thinking more about the Word of God and makes me look forward to spending time with God. And it's not just helped in me spiritually, it's helped in my relationship with Verity, with Sunny, and just my ability to concentrate on work has been so much better. I've been able to, for weeks now, I've been struggling at work. I've been really feeling like every day is a real challenge just to get through to the end of the day. Whereas I'm feeling a lot clearer now. My head's so much clearer that I'm actually able to go, I'm at work, I'm thinking purely about work and what it is that I need to do here. And part of my prayers have been to be able to, have been specifically about work, to be able to have that passion, to be able to remember the purpose that I'm here for is to help these kids progress towards a life of purpose and fulfillment, and to be able to do that through my teaching. And that there, that feeling came back that there is a belonging here for me, that God has put me here for a reason, and that reason is to teach kids and help them grow and learn. And I might not always see that, but I need to take that really seriously, because it is an important job. And once I've been thinking about things this way, it's been so much easier to be able to remain focused, to not get distracted, to be able to really invest. And I think that's coming across in the way I'm teaching as well, the way my interactions are with the kids. They're so much more positive, and just there's so much more passion behind what I'm doing. And at home, I'm again, one of the things I've been doing is just in the evenings when I get home, or just before dinner, and then from dinner onwards, I put my phone on charge in the kitchen, and I don't touch it for the rest of the evening. And I leave it out there before I go to bed, unless there's something urgent or important that I need to do, message someone or something along those lines. But otherwise, to just completely leave it out the way. And then in the morning, the same thing, just not touch my phone until I'm leaving for work, and basically going, nah, I don't want any extra input from things that are not important. I only want the input from things that are important, that are going to enrich me, that are going to help me grow, help me become better. And a phone is a big distraction, and I've known it for a long time, but it's always easy to say things, and it's always easy to say that it's a distraction and not helping, but then to actually do it and actually release and let go is a different thing altogether. So deleting certain apps that I don't need, and just popping my phone away, that's allowed me to focus more, again, just to be more present and to be focusing on what I think the things that God wants me to focus on, which is being able to invest more time, more energy into Verity and Sunny, to just to be able to go and do that. And again, my head has felt so much clearer. A lot of the time when there's so much junk going into your head, that's all you think about, and it just feels like your brain is heavy and full all the time. And by making these changes, there's been a sense of clarity in my head. It's not been thoughts bouncing around everywhere. I've been able to really direct my focus to the things that are important at the time. And so anyway, I've rambled a lot, but at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is really just, what are the things that are actually important in your life? Is it work? Is it your family? Is it satisfying your own needs, whether that's playing sport, watching TV, your emotional needs, your physical needs, all of those things? Is that what's really important, or is it actually more important to put God first? And what I'm realizing is that it is super, super important to put God first, because He will, from there, when you put God first, all of your other priorities will line up in the way that they're supposed to, not in the way that you think they're supposed to. If you align yourself with God, your priorities will start to match with His. And for me, that's brought a sense of clarity, that's brought a sense of belonging, a sense of joy, realizing that this is His plan for me, that He does love me, and that despite all of the challenges happening around me, that doesn't have to determine who I am and what I do. So I hope that has helped in some way, not necessarily from a devotional perspective today, no Bible verses or anything like that, but I just hope that you can take something away from this. And if you are interested in hearing more devotions and prayers and Bible studies, that's mainly what I do on the channel. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll hopefully see you again sometime.